Hello everybody and welcome back once again to Let's Play Suzerain. Right, in our session we made some decisions about our education. Privatisation was the route that we went down. Kiara seemed pretty pleased. We give her free rein to reform the education system as she sees fit. And with the privatisation, she might actually get some stuff done. The health department, however, not going to be quite so lucky. But anyway, I've only got about 40 minutes today, 45 tops really, because I'm got an early kick-off at football, finished work later than anticipated. So to get this up in time, I've got to keep this to 45 minutes. So without further ado, we shall press on and see what fun and games we get into today. So two news articles. The Religious Harmony Bill signed. Oh yes, we have signed the bill proposed by Kesaro Kibana, which means that basically Swordish is the language of religion in this country. Bluedish and any other unofficial languages will be banned unless special permission is received from the office of the Archpriest of Swordland. The upcoming Day of Dissension will not be exempt. And for the first time ever, the holiest sermon of the year will be conducted in Swordish. Can you imagine the uproar that's going to happen? I think we'd be better placed not attending that ceremony in this playthrough. Rain attacks the holy Day of Dissension. Outrageous bill. It's not gonna go down well. Oh, it is not hard to see the potential consequences, says the radical. Always want to stoke up issues. And we saw this last time. I think we might have seen all of these, to be fair, in the last session, come to think of it. But hey, a quick recap never hurt anybody. So yes, a call from Gus Manger. This is where we ended. A call about what we were asking. Is it about our investment? Is he reporting on that? Is it something to do with the Groony bill? Let's find out as we take the call. I was sipping my first cup of coffee for the day when the phone lit up and rang. I swore under my breath. I thought my schedule was clear for at least half an hour. I picked up the phone. Ah, Mr. President, how are you doing on this fine day, if I may ask? What is it, Gus? Obviously, we're sipping our coffee. We have got half an hour's downtime in our busy schedule. We're probably a little bit ratty. Get to the point. No offence. Sipping my coffee here and talking to you, it's going cold. I'm calling you because I received a call from the CEO of Armadine Industries, Aaron Bridges, about the recent initial public offering on the Ventry City Stock Exchange. As you might have guessed, it's about our massive venture investment of 3,000 shares worth nearly 3 million Ren. I am very pleased to say that we have made gains. The shares have doubled in price at the IPO in the VCSC, and we will soon receive the profits made from the investment. Isn't that great? Oh, great news! Worth coffee going cold for. Soon's changed his tune, hasn't he? How much did we gain? Oh, you're going to love this. In total, we have made nearly 4 million Swordish Ren. It was risky, yes, but look at where we are now. Some things are just worth taking the risk for, eh, Manger? Exactly. Electronics manufacturing has a great future, and Armadine seems to have a head start. I assure you, this will pale in comparison to what we will do together in the future. The money will be transferred to your personal bank account shortly. Gus, I need not tell you. Keep me up to date on any other opportunities. I will let you know immediately when new opportunities arise. Oh, I almost forgot. The management sent you one of their brand new radios as a gift. Miss Suna will bring it to you. Goodbye for now. The line dropped. Now that's the kind of call that Mr. President likes. No stress, no strain, good news, short, sharp, to the point, phone down, coffee still hot. Perfect. Look at the 7 personal wealth. Look at this. Can't we transfer some of that to the flipping budget? As if we would. Right, excellent news. Perhaps that will be what's been reported today. It is indeed. Aberdeen stocks jumped to nearly double. Very good. Very good. Oh, yes. We have a nose for business. Perhaps a little bit of foresight as well came into effect there, but hey, we've got to use what we can use occasionally. So in Earl Roy, private party of the Gentlemen's Club at Peter's Villa could be an option. Alternatively, a briefing on the status of immigration regulation. Business before pleasure. Let's get this out of the way, and then we can enjoy ourselves in peace. Hopefully. We were in the middle of a meeting in the palace about our immigration policy. The ensuing discussion quickly became heated. I don't think so, Mr. Wishy. It just doesn't make any sense to me that a foreign citizen should come before a Swordish citizen. In Swordland. Very well said. My analysis is also in line with this, especially during the economic recession. We are giving Swordish jobs to migrants from other countries. What about our own people? Immigrants are the reason our economy is not completely unsalvageable. Look at Agnolian immigrants in Agland. They have revitalized the whole region and, in turn, boosted the economy of the entire country. Simon can attest to that. Statistically speaking, allowing immigrants to become part of the workforce contributes to our economy, but I agree that the current situation is very nuanced. With that said, we can just tighten our immigration policy. We can't just tighten our immigration policy and expect the economy to stay the same. We need to put our economy and the recession at the forefront. Gentlemen, can we please get back on topic? Right, yes, sorry, Mr. Wishy. As I was just saying before I was interrupted, look at the superpowers. Do you see them closing off their borders? Why do you think their economies are in such good shape? They are in the current state because they welcome immigration and use it to their advantage. Swordish citizens must come first. Exactly. Our citizens should never feel threatened by foreigners. We need a decision. But before we move on, Mr. President, do you have any questions about the current state of immigration? No. Simply no. I don't have any questions. I already have my immigration policy laid down in stone. So, no questions, Mr. Wishy, thank you. Very well. He opened his dossier, stamped with the seal of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade. Before we make any decisions, I have to remind you, during the elections we promised to tighten immigration laws. Of course, as you know, I was and I still am against it. Yes, I agree with David. We can turn immigration to our advantage from a financial standpoint. Advantage? You should go over the amount of disadvantages caused by immigrants. I can provide you with a report from my ministry later. Believe me, it would surprise you. We need to keep our promises and focus on our own citizens. This is what I think. David sighed wearily. Oh, this is going nowhere. Look, I have already made my decision on this. Yes? Everyone leaned forward, eager to hear my response. We are going to tighten the immigration laws. I'll sign the decree soon, so prepare to start working on it, Mr. Wishy. It is unfortunate to see Swordland move in this direction, but I trust you have good intentions. I'll move ahead with the implementation. This has the chance to affect our trade negotiations with Agnolia negatively. They expect us to respect the flow of people. Indeed, it will be a challenge to convince these countries as they see our borders close. Not only that, we've already slighted Valen in the past. They might see this as a return to the 30s, which will definitely affect our negotiations. I wouldn't worry about that too much. With how Valen is dealing with the Blue Disk terrorists, I would argue that President Smolak would beg us to tighten our immigration. With that said, I don't fancy Valen as a partner since they are as reliable as a flopping fish out of water. I am against isolationism. It is the wrong path. Listen. This is not about isolating Swordland, Mr. Hall. It is about protecting Swordland. This will isolate us in every way. The more we are connected to the world, the better. The world is entering the age of globalization. This decision will make us stay behind. Anything else that needs to be said? No. Let's end this discussion and get to work. There are clearly changes that need to be made. The ministers gathered their documents and rose from their chairs, some with frowns on their faces. I'm looking forward to the upcoming trade talks. Peter and I have been visiting Starport and Raklovitz in preparation. I'll be coming along to talk with the economy minister, looking forward to the potential partnership. If we are finished, I need to head off and get the ministry to work on the new policy. Same here. Our border units need to be informed and prepared. Yes, we are finished. The ministers dispersed. Tightened immigration, but the nationwide protests have been quelled. Streamlined immigration. What's that all about? It's closed several loopholes. It's reduced the number of illegal immigrants. Oh, but nothing to do with legal immigration apparently. That's good. Nationwide protests quelled. Look at that. Look at that. Tightened immigration. A more complex and lengthy immigration process. Look, it's about protecting our people, alright? It's what it is exactly about. Nothing more, nothing flipping less. Alright. 5 news articles, here we go. Economist, a huge step backwards in ending the recession. The isolationist policies of President Rain are burying us deeper into the mud. That is called the recession. So, yeah, we were elected on the promise of ending the recession, perhaps. Apparently we've decided to worsen our economy further. Well, it's not as bad as when we first took over, so we'll see. We'll see, economist. Who's having a last laugh round here? Trade works with trust, and an isolationist country can't bear trust from any other nations. No trust means no trade. It's that simple. Either his advisors are competent or he refuses to listen. Yeah, it's the refuses to listen bit I think that this Mr. Rain's suffering with. But anyway, Leshaven Times, freedom in education choice. There we go, look at that. Many middle-house income households can pay for better education. State continues its war. Earlier today, Johan Gasmich, one of the leaders of the Red Youth, was arrested on his way to Benfey. Police said he was planning to escape Swordland with the help of a cargo ship from the port of Benfey to Ravnos Island. Following his arrest, a group of militants fired at patrolling police officers in the city of Valgan. After the incident, which saw no deaths from either side, the city plunged into chaos, with the opportunistic looters flocking to the streets. But the police stopped the riots quite quickly. Dare in ruins as lockdown lifted. Look at that. So Dare is slowly returning to normal life among rubble. Many of its Bluish people will surely have had a difficult time making peace with the government for the atrocities committed against their political movement. Oh, whoop it. Ooh, we've made geopolitico news. If you make geopolitico news, you know something big has happened. And that something big is us tightening immigration. Condemning responses from the international community with the exception of Valen. Agnolia? Not happy. Smolak, however, great to see our good neighbour step up to its greatness once more. Exactly. Glad you've got the vision, Smolak. Think we're going to get on like a house on fire when we visit. Right, what have we got here? V-Sword. Red Youth Hideout raided. Successful raid. 8 militants, 2 military-grade assault rifles, and bomb-making equipment secured. More evidence that our clampdown is well worth it. Benfi, editor of The Radical, that malicious paper, is suspected of helping terrorists. John Danden, famous journalist and columnist at The Radical. Oh dear, time to get him locked up and shoved in prison. Yeah, that'll teach him. Right, what have we got? Central Bank drafts economic recovery proposal. A proposal to help stabilise our economy. See what that is all about in due course. And report from Lilius's department. The restructuring has been completed with a success after the increase of its budget. Local police forces have received some. They're fighting organised crime. Successful gains have been made. The ministry reports that the 2 major business rings of the 2 crime families, Coronelli and Skinner, have been shut down, with several high-ranking members arrested. And we have also implemented a witness protection programme. Oh, nice. Always nice to see good news, isn't it? Right, in Dare, lockdown lifted. We saw that in the paper. Look how many people have been detained. 28,500. Where are we housing all these people? These detainees. Golcondi's rally against Swordland was supposed to be peaceful, which is still illegal, I think. The Emergency Act hasn't finished yet. Apparently we are an unjust and evil government. Yeah, whatever. I don't think so. Valg's Land warns against Swordish privatisation. Of course, they are a proponent of socialism, so they would prefer much more planned economy, which we're going 50-50. They want us to be much more pro-people, pro-welfare kind of jazz, which obviously we're completely not going to be going down that line. Military is the key. Policing, welfare, health, educate. Well, what? Chancellor Inos has publicly voiced support for Swordland sovereignty amidst ongoing attempts by superpower alliances to exert influence. Cairo, with its long-standing policy of neutrality, underscores the value of independent decision-making for the Swordish nation and advocates for peace, stability and non-interference in internal affairs. As do we. Right, now that we've got business out of the way, time for a private party. Far from becoming accustomed to my workload as president, I only felt more and more snowed under as the weeks passed. It had been ages since I had any time to myself. I was starting to lose my focus, and my temper was growing increasingly thin. Peter was the first to realise I needed a break. After much cajoling, he finally persuaded me to come to a meeting of his new venture, Gentleman's Club. For the past few months, he'd been hosting a salon of sorts, not just for politicians and businessmen, but also for artists, entertainers, people of taste, he told me with a smile on his face. There was only one rule: no wives or girlfriends allowed, hence the name. And so I found myself in front of his new luxury villa in Elroy. Very loud jazz music emanated from inside. I waited and waited, and finally Peter opened the door. I could smell the whiskey on his breath. Anton, finally! Come in, relax, take a break from this crisis. As soon as I entered, Peter closed the door and turned to the small crowd. Gentlemen, a minute of your time, please. I now have the privilege to present to you the man himself, the 4th President of Swordland, Mr. Anton Rain. I'd known him for long enough to understand that he was more than a little drunk. He made an elaborate mock curtsy as I passed him and walked into the room. The music stopped and I felt everyone's eyes on me. I'm sure we're actually lapping up the attention. Good evening, everyone. Peter nodded at me and turned to the attendees. Dear members, please give a warm welcome to our very special guest. If I may, Anton, here, take this. He handed me a glass of whiskey and put his hand on my shoulder. We all know why we're gathered here tonight. To celebrate life, to have a brief escape from our tumultuous professions. I personally don't know any better cure for stress than a little drink. I raised my glass, and the rest of the crowd followed. Now, the tradition dictates that I, as club president, remind you of one of our house rules. There are 3. No politics, no wives, no one sober. Cheers! Peter drank the whiskey in his glass in one go. We do the same. It's only our first. The first drink always goes down quickest. After your first, then you start sipping. I followed suit and drained my glass. It was immediately replenished. Anton Rain might have the power to make presidential decrees, but I, Peter Vecton, the president of this club, now declare this party started. Music, go! The band started up again. After greeting the crowd around me, I felt a hand on my shoulder. Let me show you around. We walked through the corridors of his mansion. Statues and paintings lined the stark white walls. An arched window provided a view of the neatly manicured grounds, complete with a swimming pool. A grand Lesbian marble staircase led up to the 2nd story. Peter gestured at the massive crystal chandelier hanging overhead. That chandelier was made in the 18th century. Can you believe it? There's even a hedge maze in the garden. How are you paying for all this, might I ask? I'll let you into a little secret. Gus Manger has a lot of contacts in real estate. He brokered an amazing price for me. He'll also be here tonight, by the way. Yes. Perfect. In fact, I've been looking for a chance to speak with him about investment opportunities myself since the last successful endeavour. He'll have a once-in-a-lifetime deal ready for you. He always does. We continued walking until we circled back to where we had started. So, what do you think of my little hideaway? Not bad, Peter. Not bad at all. Thanks! You know that you, Monica, and the kids are always welcome here. Anyway, let's get back to the party. I arranged for some caviar to be brought in from Lesbia. You're going to love it. He opened the door to the main hall and we rejoined the other guests. The music was louder now and the mood decidedly more inebriated. Cocktail waitresses were carrying around plates of canapes, wearing dresses that left little to the imagination. Gesture at one of the waitresses to come over. She was in her mid-20s, wearing red lipstick, her blonde hair neatly tied into a ponytail. On her plate were toast points slathered in the Lesbian caviar Peter had mentioned. I took a bite. It was rich, salty, tasting of pure seaside. I could almost hear the sound of the waves and the seagulls. Lesbian caviar, best in the world. I'm telling you, Anton, there are few pleasures in life that are this. As the waitress left us to serve another attendee, she flashed a smile at Peter over her shoulder. He smiled back a little too broadly. Sensual. His eyes were still fixed on her, with an expression I remembered from our many nights out together as students. Oh, look, there's Gus. Why don't you go talk to him? I'll be back in a minute. Where are you going? Oh, just to the washroom. I'll see you shortly. He left the room and I headed over to Gus, knowing full well what was in Peter's mind right now. Gus was standing next to a couple of men that I recognised as banking industry magnates. As I approached, all of them turned to me and bowed their heads. Ah, Mr. President, a toast to our new member, everyone. Gus and I clinked our glasses as the people around us raised theirs. How long have you been a member? Oh, since the beginning. It's a fun gathering, quite lucrative at times. You might have heard from Peter that I arranged the deal for this mansion. He also told me that you might be interested in potential opportunities such as, well, this. He opened his arms, gesturing at our opulent surroundings. Let's take a walk. The balcony has an amazing view of Earlroy. We left the room and made our way to the balcony. On the way, he took out 2 cigars and held one out for me. I took the cigar and started smoking it, mixed with a taste of whiskey. It was delicious. We went out to the balcony. All of Earlroy was at our feet. From this vantage point, I was able to see how expansive the building plot was. The swimming pool and the hedge maze were visible from here. Leaning over the railing, I admired the view for a moment before Gus spoke up. I know you're wondering about the deal Peter made. In a nutshell, thanks to my network, he was able to procure this house for half the asking price, which would have been impossible under any other circumstances. I would be delighted to discuss a similar arrangement with you. In fact, I have prepared a document with my own personal favourite opportunities. Your willingness to invest in Gasson showed that you were a man after my own heart. I'd love to talk about how my network can benefit you personally. Yes. Thank you. No, Mr. President. Thank you. Let's talk about the details then. Gus opened his briefcase and pulled out a thin dossier. He showed it to me. My first offer is, of course, real estate. There is a vineyard close to Earlroy, about 1 hour drive from here. That also includes a very large villa. A beautiful plot, but rather neglected, so there would be a fair amount of renovation costs. On the bright side, you would be able to produce your own wine. The previous owner was none other than Geralt of Ribbery, a world-renowned vintner, and Witcher too, some have said. What now? No, never mind, Gus, never mind. There's also the option of a football partnership. I already own a large portion of FC Enrica, and I'm doing my best to make them champions. Buying in would be more expensive than the vineyard, but this season will bring a lot of returns, I'm quite positive. Now we know, spoiler alert here, that FC Enrica are going to do really well, because we know that from our playthroughs in the past. So that will probably yield the biggest profits. However, I seem to recall that there has been vineyards in our family in the past, so we're kind of already got some knowledge of this line. And having a very large villa, a vineyard, producing our own wine, it's Geralt of Ribbery was its previous owner. We're going to have to invest in the wine place. We're going to have to do. Oh, there's another option actually. My biggest opportunity though is the possibility to buy shares in Underhall Construction. My connections ensured me that this would not be open to the public and would benefit you greatly. As you know, they are the biggest construction company in Swordland. Give me the word and I will start the procurement process, but we must act quickly as these options might soon disappear off the market. So this looks like it's going to give us probably the least amount of returns, but having our own wine, our own vineyard, peaceful, quiet to retire to, does sound nice. We've already got a healthy chunk of wealth. We're not interested in football. Underhall Construction, we would probably gather that could be the best bet to get some good profits, considering that we are giving them commissions to build our major projects, so there could be a little bit of, what's it called? So what I'm looking for? Not ulterior motive. It is a kind of an ulterior motive, but conflict of interest. Conflict of interest going on. But We're gonna go with the vineyard. We want our own peaceful retreat when we retire. If we get to retire, of course. Given the line that we're going down right now. But anyway, we can always run there to escape if needs be. Ah, excellent. I will start the process right away. Now, if you excuse me, Mr. President. He left to rejoin the party. Alone on the balcony, I looked out over Erleroy. Suddenly, I heard a rustling from the hedge maze below. I looked down and saw a silhouette. 2 silhouettes, actually, so close together they seemed to be entangled. I squinted and tried to get a better look. It was definitely 2 people kissing, but I couldn't see either of their faces. I returned to the party and spent some time mingling with the other guests, engaging them in small talk about their businesses, their children, their relationships. I realised it had been a while since Peter left. I looked around, but couldn't find him. Instead, my eyes landed on Ewald Alfonso. With a smile, the former president walked over to meet me. Ah. I didn't know you were a member of Peter's club, Mr. Alfonso. Ah, I'm not. Gus and I were having a business dinner, and he convinced me to come along afterwards. I saw you speaking to Mr. Manger earlier. Yes. He offered me some lucrative investment opportunities. Why not? Seems like a natural progression after our Gasop deal. We're seeing growing interest from international investors, by the way. I'm optimistic about the results of Swordland's investment. Yeah, good. I'm looking forward to a big payoff. I can't tell you for sure how big it will be, but our projections are looking good. Just then, Peter came up from behind us and threw an arm around each of our shoulders. Look at you two! Swordland's bright future and its ancient past. It's been an hour. Where were you? I told you, the washroom. Trust me, you'd rather not know the details. Well, Mr. Alfonso, have you been enjoying my hospitality? Alfonso smiled politely. Indeed I have, Mr. Vecton. You've put together one hell of a gathering. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to have a quick word with the CEO of Swordish Petroleum. Ah, we'll talk soon. Alfonso gave a brusque wave and walked off. Peter shifted his weight unsteadily. Nice guy. Shitty president, but nice guy. Was that you in the hedge maze, Peter? What are you talking about? Were you with that waitress? What? No. How could you even think that? I'm a married man. If you say so. I do say so. Now, who wants a drink? Besides me, of course. He poured us 2 large glasses of whiskey, and we drank them in one go. Throughout the party, we drank and drank. Just like old times. I woke up the next day with a pounding headache, and more than a few regrets. My recollections of the evening were hazy, but there was one important detail that kept coming back to me. The red lipstick on Peter's collar. But maybe my memory was playing tricks on me. Or maybe it wasn't. So we've invested in our own vineyard. Projected economic growth looking unchanged for now. Right, so we'll go through the news and then we'll go through one more event. BFF poisons Swordish schools. Oh, poisoning them with propaganda. Governor Braun proposing to introduce a ban on the Bluedish language as a primary education language. Oh dear, clamping down on Bluedish in schools and now in schools, they're also already in churches. Oh dear. This is not good. This is not good. Hey, but don't blame me. It's Mr. Rain. Swordland today. Progressive investment in rural development. Ooh, the government's decision to invest in the Groony Rural Development Investment Plan is a promising step towards revitalising our rural economies. Let's hope so. And Swordland finally achieves harmony. And this is the paper that we is obviously very pro us, given our deal with the guy whose name always escapes me. But yeah, they have managed to spin us signing this or failing to veto this Harmony Act. They've managed to spin it in a positive light, which is some achievement. That really is. Anyway, where are we? What's the next? Oh, the opening of the Benfey Festival. Oh, it's quite a major event. And that's going to be where my wife... Oh, that's a big one. That is a major one. Oh, I might have to end the session before then. Just thinking of timing. Read the report. Protest for Bluedish rights. Massive protest against the Swordish language bill, causing a bit of this, consternation. Police report. 2,600 citizens taken into police custody. Where, as I said before, where are we housing these people? BFF and Bluedish education in Berger. This is reporting on what the paper reported on. Okay, that's fine. Our hometown, the Shaven privatisation plan is in full swing. The first dozen public schools have transitioned into profit organisations already after a public bidding process determined the buyers. Only a small percentage can be allowed to transition. Not all of them. We still need schools for all, of course. Of course we do. And fire investigation has now been suspended due to lack of further evidence. Cordon has now been lifted. Right, we've got literally like 8 minutes. I'm going to probably debate this decision for some time that we have to make here. But it's my wife, right? She wants to speak. We've promised us she can speak. It's going to tick off a few people, but do you know what? Let's get it done. Our motorcade slowly made its way toward the magnificent Benfey High Arts Centre. Night was falling and the festival was about to begin. I flipped through the brochure that had been given to us at the hotel. Monica's face was featured on the front page, but the schedule on the inside still said that Curtan Leste, Mayor of Anrika, would be making the opening remarks. My last-minute announcement that my wife would be replacing Curtan must have caused some confusion at the print shop. The Benfey Festival was one of the biggest events of the year. It originally marked the start of the annual religious pilgrimage, a weeks-long journey still undertaken by devout Neurists, but today it was better known as a cultural celebration that drew thousands of revellers to the city. There were film screenings, concerts, theatre and dance performances, art exhibitions, and celebrity-studded nightly galas. The opening ceremonies were broadcast on TV and watched by millions. As the car slowed, a coterie of reporters and security guards rushed to meet us. I turned my attention to Monica. She nervously eyed the waiting crowd. We held her hand, gave it a firm squeeze. She smiled and turned her head to look out the window once again. As soon as Sergei opened the door, we were enveloped by the roar of the crowd. The next few minutes were a blur of handshakes, photos, and reporters' questions. The onlookers cheered as we walked the red carpet to the newly built art centre. We followed the guard through the cavernous white halls until we came to a set of arched doors leading to the auditorium. We waited outside as security did a quick sweep of the area, then headed in. So, this is it. I will finally stand on the same platform as you. A platform where Swordland's women will have their voices heard and acknowledged for the first time. Good luck. The two of us proceeded to the podium. I spoke first, delivering a short paragraph about the importance of Benfey and the festival to Swordland. I then introduced Monica. Thunderous applause echoed around the auditorium as she stepped to the microphone. I exited the stage and found my seat right next to the displaced Curtan Leste. Ladies and gentlemen, as the First Lady of Swordland, I welcome all of you to the Benfey Festival. The crowd erupted again, clapping and cheering. Curtan Leste leaned over and hissed into my ear. Mr. President, I am afraid you have made a great mistake. There will be consequences. Are you threatening me, Curtan? No, I am merely telling you what will happen. Your little stunt has lost you my support in the Assembly. I kept my eyes on the stage. When the applause subsided, Monica resumed her speech. This festival holds a very important place in all of our hearts. It is a celebration of art, music, theatre, but above all, it is a celebration of the people of Benfey, of their free and open-minded spirit. As we all unite for the festivities, we must not forget the values that have inspired them. Today marks the beginning of the Week of the Spirit, a time for vitality, growth, and new beginnings. The crowd was hanging on to her every word, but the Mayor of Enrica and his entourage didn't seem as impressed. I stand on this podium today to speak about change, and about a new beginning for our society. Swordland calls itself a free country, yet half of its citizens are still barred from enjoying the same freedoms that the other half takes for granted. I refer to myself and my fellow women. A rumble went through the crowd, scattered applause mixed with murmurs of discontent. To truly move forward, we must make a break from old traditions and strive towards equality for all. Equal rights, equal pay, equal access to education. Enough! The entire hall fell silent. The Mayor of Enrica rose and spoke. I will not let this woman besmirch the traditions upon which our great country was built. Mr. Leste, I shall ask you kindly just once. Please sit down. No, Anton, I can no longer sit idly by. We are past that point. Curtan turned towards the audience, speaking loudly enough to be heard without a microphone. Mrs. Rain, what right do you possibly have to pass judgment on our values as Swordist citizens? You are not a politician, you are not a speaker, you are merely a woman who's lucky enough to be married to the President. Your place is not at this podium, it is at home, tending to your husband and children. The crowd was growing rowdier. Some booed and jeered at Curtan's words, others whooped in approval. Monica froze completely. The audience grew louder. I had to do something. I walked up to the stage and stood beside my wife at the podium. The Mayor was still standing defiantly on the front row. Mr. Leste, do I have to teach you basic manners? Have you forgotten what you learned in kindergarten? The crowd erupted in laughter. Curtan's face turned red. I will not stand idly by as Swordist values are being tested, especially by our very own President and his harlot of a wife. Ooh. Please do not make me repeat myself. Or what? You'll have me kicked out? That is exactly what I'm going to do. Guards! My security guards immediately surrounded Curtan and his entourage. How dare you! To a member of the Assembly, to a member of your own party, as he was being dragged out of the venue, his voice echoed in the hall. You pay for this, Anton, I swear on my name! Do you hear me? You will pay, The door closed behind them. The crowd began to whisper. Having regained her composure, Monica stepped back behind the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, this incident only serves to demonstrate how visibly divided our country is today. My intention was not to offend or harm anyone. It is unfortunate that even the mention of modern ideals still does not resonate with many in Swordland. I hope we can set aside our differences one day and walk towards a happier, brighter future for all Swordland citizens, male and female alike. We must all remember, the future cannot exist without the past, and I believe we're witnessing the meeting of our glorious past and our bright future right here in Benfey today. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to officially open the Benfey Festival. Amogna Westcor! Vecturn Sistar! Most of the audience finished the decades-old saying, but nervous whispers still emanated from around the room. The opening event was finally finished, but my troubles with Curtan were not. I let Monica and my entourage know we'd be flying straight back to Hallsword. I was in for yet another sleepless night. Drama! Oh my god, that went a lot more rowdy than the first time, didn't it? Oh boy, what political connotations are going to be in store for us next? Well, we're bang on 45 minutes, which is perfect timing. So in the next session, we will go over, well, I'll go over these briefings and stuff before the session and just give you the summary, because I'm eager to find out what the hell. Ooh, assessment of the festival scandal. Oh no. Oh my god. Assessment? What do you mean? We don't need an assessment. The only assessment we need is that man needs to be fired. How dare he? Anyway, find out what that assessment is all about in the next session. Until then, folks, though, have a good evening, and I'll see you soon.